Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing live readings this evening. We're going to be doing tarot card readings. If this is your first time joining me, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And give me a thumbs up and like the stream. It's going to let other people know on YouTube that we're live. So they can kind of check in with us and see what we got going on for this next couple of hours together as we are doing some tarot card readings. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, I alternate every other Friday between tarot and astrology. And this week we're going to be doing, obviously, tarot. We're doing 1 and 3 card spread, $20 donation for 1 card, $40 for 3 cards. Ask any one question you want. To get in the queue, you're going to want to scan this QR code right up here. It's going to take you to my PayPal where you can put in your information. You can let me know your sign or your birthday as well if you'd like. And put in the memo your question, and if your name differs on PayPal versus on YouTube, that would be really helpful. What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing? Welcome back. We're going to be taking level 3 people first. So if you guys would like to get a reading, if you're a part of my level 3 memberships, today is the very last reading that we're going to be doing for the month and also for the year. Hello, we're almost into 2024, so we'll be doing 2024 pretty soon. What else? Yeah, so pretty much that's it. If you're level 3, let me know. We've got a couple of people who are in the queue already who are waiting for their readings. Let's see, who do I have here? I've got Elora, Danielle, Heba, and Dorothy. You guys are all in the queue. But are there any other people here who are level 3 that are wanting to get a reading? Please let me know. And something that you guys can consider doing if you like my content, you want to support my content, you can do that by joining memberships. So not everybody knows that I have memberships on my channel. There's an entry level just to get in and support my work. There's also a shout out level, and then level 3 is going to get you a reading with me once a month. So you can choose when you want to cash in on that, which Fridays, and if you would like to have a tarot or an astrology reading. So it's an awesome way to kind of stay in contact with me and get a reading regularly and continue to support my work. So thank you guys. What's going on? Hey, Morgan. Hey, DH. Hey, Kayla. How are you guys doing? Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. We'll get going. We'll see if there's anybody who shuffles in. Otherwise, we'll be starting with Elora. All right, so Elora says, I want a 1-card reading. I'm a Cancer rising, Aquarius, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, born February 2nd. She says, what is in store for me relationship-wise? Let's take a look and let's see what the cards say for her. That's an interesting combo, having Pluto going into Aquarius, and you're in the midst of a Mercury retrograde in your 7th house. So obviously there's a lot of re-evaluating relationships right now, thinking about the past, deciding what's going to move forward into the future. What's up, Jen? Just let me know if you'd like your reading this evening, and I can take your question and then I can do your reading. Okay, so this is going to be for Elora. Interesting. 10 of coins you get. What a positive card for a relationship reading. I think about like the Mercury retrograde in your 7th house. For Cancer risings, there can be a lot of like clearing out any misunderstandings or any limitations or any issues or secrets or any like anxiety or fear about long-term relationship opportunities. So if you're in a relationship, the 10 of coins can talk about like having conversations, making plans, making investments about the future. If you're not in a relationship, then this is like really looking for something that is going to be long lasting, something that's going to give you some sense of security. But this is also about building a future, right? 10s are about completion. So it can talk about something coming in that is potentially long-term. I think for Cancer rising, so much of like the eclipses and the stuff going through Aries in your 10th house is about feeling like you're in control, you're in the driver's seat of where your life is going. Mars is going to be entering into your 7th house pretty soon. You're also going to see that there's going to be a new moon in Capricorn. That new moon in Capricorn is going to square the north and the south node. So it's going to basically talk about some like fateful relationship things that are kind of setting up actually in January that are going to give us about 6 months working time to be building towards what will eventually be 2 full moons in the sign of Capricorn in the summer of 2024. I know I'm not stuttering. I kind of almost fell out of my seat when I saw that when I was looking at the transits for 2024. So between Pluto going in on Capricorn, 2 full moons in that sign, we definitely have a lot to work on in the Capricorn area of our life. So there may be this sense of breaking through also like long-term limitations that you've been experiencing in your relationship kind of sector. So the future looks bright. You're going to see sextiles between Saturn and Jupiter in the sign, obviously, of Taurus and Capricorn. So we're going to see that there's the opportunity for there to be some kind of growth. And then Saturn being in Pisces, sextiling your 7th house is talking about what you're learning from relationships or relationships at a distance. But for the most part, I can't really think of like a better card for asking about relationships. This really talks about like kind of building into something more stable in the future. Obviously, increments of 10 can come up here too. So like the 10th day, 10 weeks, 10 months. And this is about like long-term kind of planning and things kind of developing for your future. So really positive card. Sometimes it's a card that's about like marriage and like long-term commitments and like life partners, because you see like all of this money being involved and what you're building and like this like kingdom that surrounds you and the partner in that particular card. Good luck. Just let me know, Jen, if you want me to do the reading. What's up, David? Hey, Grace. Hey, Laura. Who else do we have? We've got Danielle. Danielle says, 3 cards for the live on Friday. My birthday is May 1st, 81. So you're a Taurus sun. Are you here, Danielle? Let me know if you want to ask a specific question. Otherwise, I will just do a general reading for you. You're welcome. Yeah, I think a lot of like Cancer and Cancer risings might find that there's like finally breaking through some of these long-standing issues in relationships. All right, so this is going to be for Danielle, the Taurus. It was in this order. Wowzers. We've got the Hangman, the Hermit card, and the 10 of Cups. I really am curious about this axis of Pisces and Virgo, which seems to kind of be coming up in your cards here. The Hangman has connections and associations with Pisces or Neptune energy. This can be about what you're doing behind the scenes. It can be a moment of pause and reflection. Sometimes this card comes up where it talks about like being suspended or being stuck in a situation. It can be about getting insight, reflecting, meditation, kind of turning inward. And this is about enlightenment. So when this card comes up, it's kind of saying like, well, what are you learning through a period of sacrifice or a period of isolation or alone time? So I would wonder what's going on with Pisces in your chart. You know, Saturn's going through that part of the sky as well as Neptune. And then we've got the Hermit card, which both cards are very similar. There is a sense of like needing to be alone with your thoughts and working through something. But I feel like the Hangman is more spiritually and emotionally and internally versus like the Hermit card, which is like actually doing the work, right? Rather than thinking about it or meditating on it, it's like, no, I got to go and actually do the work. And this is a card that's also about healing. It can be a card that's about being alone with yourself and really reflecting on the inward journey. This can be about Virgo. So if you think about what's going on with Virgo in your chart as well, you know, pretty soon here in the next year, we're going to start seeing some eclipses that are going to be happening in Pisces, even though the nodes won't fully change signs till 2025. There may be something brewing in this area of your chart that's about, okay, you know, what am I really reflecting on making changes and doing, or where am I feeling stuck? Like, where am I having a difficult time getting out of my own way? Where are there some secret blockages? And where is being aware of them or actively working through them or kind of cleaning these things up necessary. So what I like about Pisces and Virgo, or like the 6th, 12th house axis, is like both are about healing. Both are about getting our affairs in order. Both are about working through delays, setbacks, challenges, health-related matters. And it's where we either come home to ourselves or we are kind of like more so in balance for our relationship with other people. That's what Virgo and Pisces is about. What is making me kind of wonder is like what's going on also between this time frame. So if we think about what's been happening since about August or September of 2023, looks like you're in a 6-month cycle of like really doing this type of work, reflecting, healing, working through some blockages, which ultimately I think is going to lead to more happiness, more fulfillment, better relationships, and some sense of joy and feeling like there is some kind of completion. Maybe it means that you're really reflecting on what you want in relationships and how to be able to foster happiness and better partnerships and, I would say like support from other people. And that maybe you're realizing that in order to do that, you need to give that to yourself first. The more that you're working on those things and you're really doing your due diligence to kind of like heal, then you can kind of better connect with others. 10 of Cups is a card that's like the happy ever after card, right? You have the family that's like embracing each other and the kids are playing and everything's green, it's alive. And that 10 of Cups is about a well-welcomed sense of completion and emotional fulfillment. So there can be like this coming out the other side, especially with like the Hangman card being first and feeling like, okay, you've gone through the journey. Maybe you were stuck in a situation or in a bad pattern, or there was a habit, or maybe you're isolating yourself. And like the Hermit card was about coming to terms with that and being like, okay, I have to be the one to heal it, or I have to be the one to fix or remedy the situation, or I have to be the one to kind of heal myself. And then when you get to the 10 of Cups, there is this sense of being like, okay, I came out the other side. Now I'm able to get more of what I want. I'm feeling really ecstatic about some of the accomplishments or the healing work that I've done. And it does talk about fostering better relationships with other people. This can be about relationship with family as well. So, the 10 of Cups can talk about like, having a happier home base or having a better relationship with your family or some sense of accomplishment, revolving around where you're living, your home and your living or your family situation here as well. It can be foreshadowing that there is some good news coming in this department. That maybe you're going to be seeing this round about the end of this 6-month cycle. So as we're getting closer to Pisces season, it makes sense. We're going to have so many planets going through Pisces. We're going to have Saturn, Neptune, Venus, Mercury, Sun. So for some people, it's going to be like this completion, this grand completion of something. For other people, it's going to be about some of our dreams becoming a reality. And I think you're one of those people that's going to experience that situation. But it's taken a lot of like hard work and determination and self-reflection and like the willingness to like really ask yourself, probably with the Hermit card, some difficult questions and like really shining a light on things that maybe you have been in the past afraid to kind of acknowledge or afraid to heal or to work through. But I'm excited to see this completion kind of come up for you in the beginning of the year. And I feel like for a lot of people, just the energy of March of 2024 is very different. We're coming into what's going to be eclipses in Aries. So I keep telling people like that's when really things cycle out and new things begin. Not that there's anything wrong with the astrology in January. January is great. We're going to see a ton of planets in Capricorn. But I feel like the real kind of completion and like working through things and healing things is actually going to be taking place in March. So it looks like you're kind of like right in alignment with that energy. And all roads lead to not only, I think, a better mind-body balance when I think of like the Hangman and the Hermit, but also better overall, happiness in general. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Good luck. Thank you, Grace. I got you. What's up, Gibson? Oh, is that you, DH? I'm a progressed Cancer rising. I feel that. We've got Heba, Dorothy. Who else snuck in here? Sorry, guys. It takes me a little bit longer now because they reformatted all of PayPal. It's so annoying. We've got Kimberly, Kayla, Grace, and Amanda. So I got you guys in the queue. And if you're just tuning in, you want to get a reading, scan the QR code. It'll take you to my PayPal. You can make a donation for a reading. Okay, so Heba says, hey, I hope you're doing great. I'm wondering if you could pull 3 cards for me for January, the changes that might or will happen other than the fact that I finished all of my courses for university and I'm graduating. Thank you so much in advance, Heba the Aries. All right, I love that for you. Big accomplishments for Aries this month with transits going through your 10th house. So yeah, graduation, getting ready to enter to a new phase in your career, bigger, better, stronger reputation. I love it. All right, let's take a look. So what does January have in store? Well, let's find out. 10 of Wands, 3 of Cups, 5 of Swords. Wowzers. I like the combination of the 3 of Cups and the 5 of Wands. I do feel like that's very like graduation energy, celebrating, you know, overcoming something, being able to complete cycles. I do feel like the 5 of Swords feels like there is some combative energies, which makes sense. Just, you know, if you haven't listened to the horoscopes for Aries, all these planets going through Capricorn, you know, coming into a square with Chiron in Aries and the North Node in Aries. A lot of responsibility, timing, showing up, being responsible, you know, having to kind of take care of business is definitely the theme. I think Mars going into your sign is going to be helpful. I think it can also make things a little bit more challenging for Aries because they can be very ambitious, but there can be a sense of also like being a little competitive. And so I would say be mindful that there's going to be like this tempo change where you're going to be like, okay, I'm focusing on my goals, getting things done. And there can be some friction in communicating with other people, or there can be this feeling of like combativeness with other people and having to kind of stand up for yourself, or feeling like you're having a difficult time communicating with other people and getting the point across. I also feel like, you know, the 3 of Cups it's a positive card that's about coming together with others, celebrating some sense of accomplishment, completions, parties, you know, joyous occasions, celebrations. So it's like all this hard work, it's going to pay off. And even though maybe there's some mental tension or some frustration, maybe you're kind of feeling like you're under the pressure, maybe with meeting deadlines, if you're still having exams or like other things that you're having to do, you're going to overcome it. It's going to be fine. And there's going to be an opportunity to kind of blow off some steam with that 3 of Cups. Socializing, being with people who are going to help celebrate your accomplishments seems to be a big theme. 10 of Wands also talks a lot about like overcoming the obstacles, overcoming the odds. You know, getting to the end and feeling like exhausted and tired. So you may feel like, okay, you know, like I'm finally completing everything and people want to celebrate and they want to go out and they want to, you know, do dinners and this, that, and the other. And you're just like, I'm wiped, man. Like I'm tired, you know? But I do feel, especially with Mars coming into harmony with Jupiter and Uranus, there can be people who want to, you know, give you gifts. There can be also opportunities to like immediately start looking for employment, to be able to start your job search if you're looking to get into the work field. And I feel like, yeah, when you get to the finish line with that 10 of Wands, there is a sense of exhaustion, but finally completing something and kind of putting this process kind of behind you. But I really feel like what you're going to be wanting is rest. So if you're feeling kind of stressed out or, you know, exhausted or tired and people are like, woo, you're graduating, let's go out or let's travel or let's like celebrate, you know, just be mindful that there can be a sense of not everybody realizing or recognizing just how much this has been for you to get to this point. Be mindful when you're communicating with other people so people aren't taking it personally, and be letting them know that, you know, you're just you're able to kind of celebrate when you find the time, or when you find time to kind of rest and recuperate. And something about that 10 of Wands also makes me feel like right when you get to the end, it's about not giving up. Because sometimes there is this potential for getting so overwhelmed or like feeling like our hands are full that we're just kind of like, okay, I'm getting to the finish line, and like you don't want to trip and fall. So don't take on any more than you can. Try to really pace yourself throughout this month. Keep your eyes on the prize and focus on what you need to get done this month. Some things may need to wait, and you may need to let other people know that as well, that, you know, you need a little bit more time before you're able to kind of get together but recognize that people are wanting to celebrate you and your accomplishments. Good luck. That's awesome. Congratulations on graduating. Let us know what are you graduating with? What did you study? Readings are still open if you guys want to get in the queue. Scan the QR code and you can make a donation. $20 for one card, $40 for three. You can ask any one question you'd like. Dorothy is next, and then we got Kimberly and Kayla. Dorothy says, Tarot, what do the cards say about the health of my ex? My ex hasn't been saying a lot lately, but I've heard from a mutual friend that my ex is struggling. The ex is a Virgo rising, Libra, sun, and moon. Well, that's difficult to have those eclipses that are taking place in Libra, because a lot of Libra placements with the South Node eclipses are like feeling like just like the energy is being sucked out of them, because that's what the South Node will do. It's draining, especially in the second house. As a Virgo rising, like second house is about the physical state, right? It's like a Taurus house. So they can have kidney issues, they can have blood sugar imbalances, they can have lower back issues. There can be problems also going on with their throat, their thyroid, their voice, all of that stuff. And then add that on top of a Saturn opposed the ascendant and Pluto ingress into the sixth house. So all of those things can spell out like, yeah, there can be some health stuff going on. But let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say for Dorothy in regards to the state of her ex and their health issues. What's up, Jen? You can redeem that as long as you are a monthly subscriber for level 3. Let me double check. Let me pull up YouTube, because I notice your name is not highlighted. So are you still a member? Sorry. YouTube is trying to verify that it's me. There we go. There we go. Sorry, guys. Just want to make sure that I've got this membership. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find you, Jen. Looks like you joined 2 days ago, so I can definitely get you in. Just let me know what your question is, and I will add you to my list. Thank you for being a level 3 member. Okay, so DH says they've been having a hard time with their kidneys. That's spot on. That's unfortunate. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what the deal is with their health. Man, Libras and kidneys, lower back, blood sugar stuff. That's seems to be a reoccurring theme for them. Okay, Ace of Cups to the Death card and the Knight of Pentacles. I don't know, what's the deal here? I mean, is this you being like there's still like love for that person, like wanting to support them? I mean, the Ace of Cups in general is a positive card, so that kind of coming up does kind of indicate like there is room for healing. Like water element is emotionally healing, it's emotionally clearing. I think about how the Ace of Cups can talk about nurturing in relationships and like, you know, connection with other people and the ability to be able to heal through the support that they receive from others. The Death card coming up in the current position does talk about like a situation that needs to change. No, this is not meaning that they're going anywhere. The Death card for me is not a physical death. But it does talk about difficult times, transformation, the need to purge, change, transform something, and that they're in a moment right now where it's like there is no turning back. Like I feel like the situation that they're dealing with is something that they're going to have to learn to cope with, something that they're going to have to learn to work with. Like there may be issues that they have to continue to keep dealing with moving forward, and it's very difficult for them to adapt to this. I do feel like The Knight of Pentacles is a card that talks about taking action when it comes to health. Especially Pentacles can be about food, it can be about weight, it can be about supplements, it can be about nutrients. I kind of see this as like a wake-up call, and the Death card coming up with the Knight of Pentacles might kind of indicate that there's some serious stuff that's happened that may be irreversible, or some things that, could potentially be really serious down the road. And it's incentivizing them to take better care of themselves and to really focus on, healing and doing that work now, and like being proactive. I also wonder that Ace of Cups, if this is also somehow connected to either emotional habits, or it's connected to drinking habits, or, consumption habits. Like there's something there that needs to be course corrected. Like sometimes I see the Ace of Cups come up with the Death card and they're like, yeah, I can't continue, not processing these emotions, or, I can't continue to keep drinking, or, to keep eating the way that I've been eating. Because the Ace of Cups can talk about overdoing it, overflowing. It can also talk about hydration issues. Obviously we know that the kidneys are connected to all those things, but I do see them taking it seriously, being proactive, working on their health. I do feel like it's reached a point where they absolutely have to do something. The confirmation card that I get is the Queen of Swords. So if you're questioning whether or not like you reach out or you do something, it may be that you find a way to kind of say like, not that what's going on, but that you reach out and go, hey, I hope you're doing well. That's it. Just letting them know like you're thinking of them, that they have your support, whether or not you know what's going on, just letting them know that you're there in case they need anything. But yeah, they got to get on their horse and ride. They got to get the show on the road in terms of taking better care of themselves. And I think a lot of it's going to be about the time, right? Because Pentacles can be time, or the energy that they invest in taking care of themselves. And the problem with the Knight of Pentacles is that it can be somebody who's like slow to actually make those changes. It can be somebody who is reluctant to want to make the investment in the health stuff. Somebody who's also, kind of pinching pennies, or they're really conservative with their finances, or they're feeling like they're not capable, or they're not able to, afford care, or they're struggling to be able to get their needs met. But they're capable, right? Knights are very capable. They just, the Knight of Pentacles sometimes just needs a little bit of like coaxing to get outside of their comfort zone, right? But I do feel like that's a good sign with the Cups and the Page of Pentacles that, things can definitely be on the up and up. But it is something that they have to change. And the irony that the Death card came up, and that, Pluto's going into the 6th house for Virgos, which means the end of a pattern or a habit that needs to shift, right? This is helpful. Thank you. I'm glad that was able to help. And sending, obviously, them lots of good healing vibes. We got Kimberly and then Kayla. All right. Oh, and we got Jen. That's right. So Jen... Let's see. Oh, I see you. How do you redeem a reading? Okay, so there's 2 of them. Now I see you. Okay, my first comment had a purple star next to it. Okay, so just let me know what is your question, because I'm not seeing it for some reason. So just let me know your question, Jen, and I will answer it for you. I'll take you next, so just send that. So Kimberly says, hey Candace, the full moon in Cancer was emotional as F, and I got much needed sleep. As a Leo sun, 7 degrees, Scorpio moon, 2 degrees, and Pisces rising with Chiron at 0 degrees. Oh, tell me the best thing that's going to happen for me in 2024. Happy New Year, 1 card reading. Well, I mean, my goodness, man. So you got transit Pluto that is now coming into a square with your moon. So your moon in Scorpio is in the 9th house, and Pluto is now going into your 12th house, and it's squaring your moon, so you got to watch out for those emotional entanglements. It's also coming into an opposition with your your 8th house Leo sun, your 6th house Leo sun. Sorry, I'm visual. And then you've got Saturn that's just been chilling on your ascendant and your Chiron. My goodness, it's just, to me it seems like there's been a lot of having to be with yourself and having to be at peace with yourself. And like, yeah, that Cancer moon over it. It's still, I kind of feel like it's still lingering. Definitely a lot of moodiness. But in your second house, your 12th house, a lot of clearing. Wait till you see the next full moon. Oh my goodness. The full moon that's going to be in Aquarius, in Leo. I'm like throwing a bunch of stuff at you. The full moon that's going to be in Leo, in opposition to Pluto, square Jupiter. Like, holy cow, that one's going to be even more action-packed for you. All right, so on to your reading. You want to know what's the best thing that's going to happen for you next year. I love this. The Fool card. Well, I think of this card in being like, we're going to keep things moving, right? Because this is a card that deals with like Uranus, it deals with Aquarius. I think about Pluto going into, obviously, your opposite sign. So there's going to be some dramatic changes with relationships. And so that could very much be the case because the Fool is connected to Aquarius and Uranus. I think about how this is being like, okay, we're starting fresh, we're starting new. We're just going to keep things moving. As a Pisces rising, I feel like for you, there's a lot of like building on yourself. I think of the North Node in your second house. I think of how you're going to have eclipses in the second house. I think of how you're going to have, Jupiter that's also going to be going into, which is your traditional chart ruler, into Gemini in your fourth. So it's almost like being like, let's start fresh, let's start new, let's keep it moving. You may feel more adventurous in this next year, believe it or not. Although Saturn will kind of rein that in a little bit the second half of 2024. Maybe you're feeling more open to moving, traveling, relocating. Maybe it means that you're kind of saying, you know what, I'm gonna try something I haven't tried before, or I'm gonna take a course or a class in something I've never really gotten a chance to learn about, or I'm gonna travel somewhere by myself. There is this spontaneity, there is this ignorance is bliss quality also. So there is a lot of being like, you know what, if it doesn't affect me, I'm not paying attention to it. I'm more focused on forward motion and, where things are going. The confirmation card being the Four of Cups is like feeling like you're feeling stimulated again, or you're excited about stuff again. Giving you the opportunity to get out of maybe like a rut, or to be no longer like sitting around and not feeling like you're doing nothing with your time. So that Fool card can mean, okay, I'm gonna, do something different every other Sunday, or I'm going to be, every 6 months, I'm going to be making myself go on a trip. It's keeping things spontaneous, having freedom, having excitement. I think that, any Pluto moon transit, especially the squares, can result in some kind of a change either emotionally within the family or on the home front. So I think of that factored in with Jupiter going into your fourth house, and Gemini represents two things. So there may be this sense of being like, do I want to move? Do I not want to move? Do I want to travel? Do I not want to travel? Do I want to live here? Do I want to live there? And I would say if you're not sure, give yourself the freedom to go and suss something out, to venture, right? To visit a place, to stay there for a week, to look into places that you could potentially visit, to kind of keep your options open, and leave room for spontaneity, and also give yourself the opportunity to kind of travel and do things alone. Work with Saturn in your first house. Give yourself that freedom to basically say, you know what, I think I'm okay doing things by myself. It's not going to limit me and keep me in one place or keep me kind of sad. It's about finding the silver lining in the midst of this transit and seeing that there are opportunities for you to have some sense of freedom. So it looks like it's going to be good, to be honest with you. But boy, oh boy, those Pluto transits are a lot. I've had the Pluto moon square. I can't quite tell you what it was though, because it was in 2020. So it was like Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all squared my moon at the same time. So it was like, I was getting blasted with transits, but it did materialize as some big changes in the way that I look at my home and my relationship with family. So hopefully it's a positive one for you. All right, so now we've got Jen. Thank you, Jen. Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how the readings work. I just signed up. Do I get one for December and then again in January? As long as you're a member monthly at the beginning of the month, then you get your reading. As long as you are here, and you have to decide if you want tarot or astrology. So be here on Fridays. That's generally when I'm here. And then you can let me know when you want to cash in on it. So if you're here in December, you can get one in December, and then you get one in January. So just let me know. Let me know what your question is if you want like a tarot reading, and you can still come back in January and get an astrology reading. All right, so we've got Kayla. What's up, Kayla? How's it going? Nice to hear from you. Aqua Sun, Libra Rising, Virgo Moon. Kayla says, I feel like I'm at a big crossroads with family and career and romantic things. I thought I was going to move where my son's dad was living, but then I'm not so sure that's right. Did I let go of what's meant for me and what's meant for me in 2024? What should I focus on? It's been really hard the last 2 months. A lot of fear and doubt is coming up. I feel I've outgrown a lot of things, but now I'm not sure where I put my focus. Okay, so couple things. As a Libra rising, Mercury has been retrograde in an angular house for you. So it's been going retrograde in your 4th house of home, family, living situation. So there's a lot of like, where am I moving? Where is home? Where am I supposed to be? And doubt comes up because Mercury rules your 12th house. So there's a sense of feeling like you're kind of blindly moving through some of this stuff. And retrogrades can bring a change in direction. So you think you're going to live in one place, and then you find out you're going to live in another. You think you're going to do one thing with your family, and then your family has a different kind of direction. So that's how that generally works. But let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say. So did she let go of what she was meant to let go of, and what should she focus on going into 2024? Hello, MJ. All right, so here we go. This is what we have in this order. 10 of Swords, 4 of Wands, and the 6 of Swords. Well, I really feel like a lot of this is like letting the past be in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 of Swords is like, okay, so that situation happened. It was rough. It was difficult. There was a lot of disappointment, or you were feeling like somebody didn't have your back, or that you had to let something go, or there was some kind of painful ending. But then we have the 4 of Wands, which is reason for celebration, being in a temporary space, embracing something that's new, connecting with people in different places, keeping things flexible as well. And then we've got the 6 of Swords, which talks about like moving forward, moving on to a different situation. I think of like as a Libra rising, having Pluto getting ready to leave your 4th house, where it will spend most of 2024 in Aquarius. So as an Aquarius sun, you're still going through a lot of personal changes and transformations, but in your 5th house, it's like changes in regards to your relationship with children, changes in regards to your love life and self-expression. I really feel like the Mercury retrograde should have been a lot of like, do I want to go back to old ways of living? Do I want to repeat these patterns? Do I want to live with the same people again? Do I want to live in the same city? Do I really want to go back there? And then as Mercury is getting ready to go direct pretty soon, you're going to kind of make a decision about where you want to live. I feel inclined to tell you that this could still be a limbo year, or a 6-month period of limbo, where you're like, okay, I can do something temporarily. If I decide I don't like it, I can go back. Or if you want to give something different a shot, or you want to do something temporary, it is possible for you to be like, yeah, I'm going to go and like live in a different part of town, or I'm going to go and live in a different place than where I anticipated living, and really give change a shot. Because 6 of Swords is about going somewhere that's a little bit more peaceful. It's about being somewhere that's going to give you a sense of relief, moving away from where there's been conflict with all the other swords, and finally feeling like you get a bit of a break. Kayla says, it's so hard when I share my son with someone. I've had a lot of contemplation of what my family looks like for me. Well, I mean, the truth is that, 4 of Wands can also be seen as something that you do that's like recreational, or something that you do that's more for like fun, or like with friends or family. It can mean that you're making a commitment just to getting out of town, or that you're making a commitment to like get involved in new hobbies or new communities. So you're not feeling like you're limited just being in one particular place. And like 4 of Wands 6 of Swords can literally be about travel. So I'm kind of feeling like at the very least, you're moving on to something different. So whether you're moving into a different house, or you're living in a different part of town, or you're living with different people, that does seem to be part of this. I don't really feel like it's about that you're supposed to necessarily be exactly where people from the past are. You're moving forward. And Kayla says, but he wants us to move out of town, and I'm not sure if that's good. It would be nice to see somewhere completely different. Yeah, I mean, you're going somewhere different. If somebody's trying to convince you to do that, you have to take into consideration, obviously, who it is, because that Ten of Swords is saying that there is this fear of repeating past patterns, and I feel like there is like a sense of needing like independence. Like Four of Wands makes me feel like it's a place where you have people who are familiar, but you don't have to live with them. It makes me feel like you have a place where you can go and connect with them, but you still have your own space. And in the scene of the Six of Swords, you've got somebody who's helping them cross the river and get into a new place. And there's a woman and her child that are seeking refuge and safety. So if it's a matter of being like, okay, I would consider doing it, but we need our own space. We're not all going to live together. And if you were cool with that, it could work. And it could actually represent that, you know, you're saying, look, I'll give it a year. I'll try this for a year and see if I like it. And I'll let you help me in the process of kind of getting into a new space. But if I don't like it, I need to know that I have the ability to return, because these are temporary cards, right? Yeah. So yeah, if you're down with a change and you're able to have your own space, I don't think it's a bad move, to be honest with you. I feel like a lot of it's also about the Ten of Swords being in the past and kind of having this feeling where it's like the past keeps coming back up and it's like haunting you, right? So if there's been too much stuff that's gone on potentially, you know, with your family or drama in the past or conflicts with people, and you feel like you can't break these cycles, or you can't get out of these patterns, I could definitely see moving and being somewhere else temporarily being actually really positive for you. And that once you wrap your head around the fact that A, it's temporary, you don't have to stay there, and B, that you have the ability to kind of go into a new space where you can kind of turn over a new leaf, I think it could actually be really positive. But you'd have to make the commitment to being like, I'm going to give it at least 4 to 6 months, you know? And so much of Pluto leaving your fourth house is about being like, okay, I'm leaving the past behind. We're going to do something different now. And especially because Pluto represents money going into the fifth house, it's like getting really passionate about what you have and how you're acquiring your resources, and, you know, where, you know, kids are potentially really influencing you to think about your values and your resources very differently. And like, look, you know, you're definitely going to see some resistance, because Pluto in Capricorn in the late degrees is going to be family who are going to basically still want to have some kind of control over a situation. It's in your fourth house. They still want to have a say in your life and your, you know, where you're living and what you're doing. And you may feel like there's this back and forth between now and 6 months, but it's really about breaking out of those old patterns and moving into the future. I say give it a shot. You know, it's at least worth going and checking out the space and maybe spending some time there and feeling it out. And you may actually find that there's opportunities for peace and also for new community that can come with that. Hopefully that's helpful for you. What's up? Salty Mama says, there you are. My goodness, your channel is not coming up in my feed. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I tend to be quite opinionated in my world event conversations. Good luck, Kayla. Yeah, make sure you click the bell button below and you're subscribed. If not already, give me a thumbs up. And scan that QR code if you want to get a reading before we close it out. All right, so Jen says, my question is, I have an ex-tenant threatening to sue me after she skipped out on rent and then left her belongings here. I had to change the locks because I was leaving for a month. Will she actually follow through with the lawsuit, and will I be in trouble? I'm a Virgo rising. I've helped her out a lot in the past and paid for her bed when she defaulted on a payment, but but it could be bad that I changed the locks. She did say over text that she would be terminating the lease at the beginning of the month, but regardless, she is threatening to sue. Bummer. Okay, so a couple things. Mercury retrograde, right? Virgo rising in your fourth house. So there's been a lot of changes revolving around what's going on in your home base. The squares to your seventh house, which is your tenant, to Saturn and Neptune has been them saying, well, I was put out, I didn't have anything, and this is what I needed. And so there's some kind of conflict coming from that. Jupiter is now direct in Taurus in your ninth house of law, so it's kind of protecting you. And you've also got Saturn that is, moving through Pisces. So you would have some kind of support of somebody if you needed to go through like the whole legal process. But let's take a look. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what's going to happen with this tenant for Jen. And then we've got Grace and Amanda. You guys are on deck. What's up, Sarah? You can scan the QR code up here, and then in the memo, please send your question, and I can add you to the queue. But if you want to join a membership, you can do that too. All right, so this is on the question in regards to the tenant and the legal situation. What should she anticipate? It's in this order. Holy cow. So we've got 3 major arcana cards popping up. The Wheel of Fortune, the Hangman, and the Tower card. Well, it's pretty safe to say that I'm getting the impression, and it makes sense with the Hangman, that that's like very like Neptune, that somebody's like, well, you put me out on the street, or, like now I'm homeless, or I don't have anything. Like you're going to see a situation where somebody is going to be trying to make it seem like it's the worst situation available, right? Part of me feels inclined to tell you, if you have a situation where somebody is wanting to play the martyr or the victim, because that's what the Hangman is, that it may not necessarily work in their favor, especially if you can show that in the past you've basically done everything in your power to make sure that your tenant was taken care of and they had everything that they needed. I do feel like the Tower situation is kind of saying like the blow up has already happened. The conflict that you guys have had has already happened. So there is no going back. So there is no continuing to keep them as a tenant. There is no, basically trying to stay friends or friendly. There is no being able to retain that lease. Like that's done and over. The Wheel of Fortune and the Hangman is also saying like this is a situation where somebody is having to learn a lesson about whether or not they're going to like rise to the occasion and take, I guess I should say, like responsibility for stuff. So I don't think this is a situation where you're one of those like nasty landlords that's just, out for blood, that's kind of kicking people out in the streets. I think that it's basically saying this is happening because there's been a series of events where this person has not risen to the occasion or taken responsibility or kind of showed up. So it kind of came to this kind of blow up situation with the Tower for both of you guys to kind of realize like, hey, in your case, not the best tenant to be having. It's going to continue to cause problems. And in this person's case, they're kind of like running out of free rides, and perhaps maybe they're making a lot of threats about things that they're going to do. But I think if you have a situation where somebody already can't pay for their cost of living, I don't know if I would read too much into the legal threats. I would take a lot of what they're saying with a grain of salt, personally. The confirmation card that I get is the Star card. So it does say that there is room for healing, that this is like likely going to get smoothed over. You may find that it's a situation where they're trying to go and consult and like talking with like a group or an organization, or they're trying to like make a fuss about something, maybe like with housing. But yeah, I mean, I don't see this being a situation where it's going to backfire on you, or that you're, going to be the person who's going to like be in trouble in some way. The Star card is basically being like, I'm sending this away with like, some kind of support and love, but also kind of recognizing that this is not my mess to clean up. Generally, this is a card that comes after the Tower, which is kind of interesting. It talks about healing after like the mess. I'm just reading your message. I didn't kick her out. She decided herself that the lease would end earlier, and I have dropped her rent and utilities to help her. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, I think that, unfortunately, this person's probably going to have to also like learn the hard way. Like something about the Hangman and the Tower makes me feel like this person's getting a hard lesson and a realization that they cannot bite the hand that feeds, and that, there has been a situation that has now been kind of toppled or terminated on her part, obviously. And the Star card is basically saying like, now you can kind of like, cleanse the situation, release it, move on. If she wants to say for whatever reason that you did something that was out of alignment legally, like, you can let her say what she wants, but I really don't feel like this is going to be something that's going to come back and affect you. I feel like it's more just this realization that you're like, wow, I can do something nice and like try to help somebody, and it doesn't matter how much I do, like they're still going to find a way to like completely like screw up the entire situation and blame you, you know? So what can you do? The Star card is neutralize it, send her away lovingly, be like, I hope you get all the support you need. I hope things work out for you. No ill will. Okay, see you later. And like not be a part of the drama vibrationally here, right? Like not allowing this to be something that you're going to be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. You know, I don't think so at all. Yes, and that's what you get with the Star card, is you get peace. You're welcome, Jen. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Let me give you guys a rundown of who else I've got on my list. If you don't want to use PayPal, we have Super Chat. You can also click the link in the description. It'll take you to PayPal, and you can make the donation. $20 for one card, $40 for 3. So I've got Grace, Amanda, and is that Aram? Am I saying that correctly? I got you. I don't need your birth info. We're doing tarot. Thank you, Jen. I'm sure we'll see you here soon. Good luck. Burn some sage in that place, huh? All right, so we've got Grace that says 3-card reading. My birthday is 8/11/86. I'm a Pisces rising, Leo sun, Scorpio moon. Didn't we have another one of those? Is that the same combo? I like it. Would like to know if I should let him go. All right, cool. So Grace wants to know, do I let him go? The Scorpio moon, the Pisces rising says no. The Leo says, get out of here. Just kidding. It depends on your Venus. Let's see what the cards say. So should Grace let him go? These are the cards that I got. Oof. 4 of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Moon card. Confirmation card is the 2 of Cups. Okay, so we got 2 major arcana. The tarot is kind of warming up. It's getting nice and sassy. I think a lot about the combination of the Hierophant and the Moon card, and it kind of like reminds me of somebody saying to you, like, well, what do you think? You know, like when people like expect you to know the answer, or like you already know it, but you're asking for like validation or confirmation. That's kind of like how that feels to me. 4 of Cups coming up, which talks about disappointment, right? Feeling challenged in a relationship, not being totally thrilled about how things are going, not getting maybe the response that you're wanting. This can be a card where you're like, nothing's going according to plan. This isn't working. You know, nothing that I'm trying is like really making a difference in this dynamic. Like, you know, so what's the point, or what do I do? 4 of Cups also, it makes me think about how he's so busy pouting that he doesn't see the ace that's being handed to him in the sky. And so sometimes this card comes up where it's like, there's the sense of being like, well, I stay and I've got him, but I'm not getting what I want. And not seeing that there could potentially, with the Ace of Cups, be other suitors or other relationship potentials or possibilities, and that you could be so hung up on wanting somebody to come correct, or wanting somebody to, you know, behave the way that you want them to behave, or show up in the relationship that you want them to show up, that you're so fixated on that you're like stuck to this idea that it has to be this person, and you may be missing any potential opportunities for love that can be around you. Hierophant is a card that deals with tradition. It deals with commitment. It's about, in some ways, conforming. This can be a card that talks about responsibility and balance and social status, and sometimes it can be about marriage. And it can be talking about getting advice. So when I think of the Hierophant, I think of like going and talking to a priest, or talking to a therapist, or talking to, you know, a reader, somebody who can basically be like, look, you know, we're going to tell you what should or should not be happening. And so part of me kind of feels like you already kind of intuitively know with the moon coming up that something is not working, right? That something's not right here, or that potentially you're staying around in the relationship, waiting for the relationship to do something or to evolve in some way or to become more legitimate or more connected, and it's not happening. And like intuitively, you're like, yeah, I know that I should get going, but I'm having a difficult time doing that. And I see that there's some kind of potential here. So I think with the moon card, it's really kind of saying like, are you staying because your gut is telling you this could be something? Or are you staying because there is some fear of like walking away and potentially, you know, finding what you want with another person, and maybe like this feeling that your window of opportunity is closing? It's a little bizarre to me that the Two of Cups is a confirmation card, because I do feel like this is kind of indicating that like, it's not like you're with somebody who isn't a good match, because Two of Cups is saying like there is a mutual connection there, that there is love there, that there is a relationship or a partnership there. But also it might be a relationship that is kind of like in the shadows, or it's not really becoming super visible, or that there is something that is like not so visible about the relationship. So I don't know if you want to give clarity to this situation, because I'm just talking to a camera in a room right now. I'm not reading for you in person, but something here makes me feel like the relationship is not coming to full visibility. And so you have to ask yourself, why is there something that's stunted? Is there something that is missing, where it's like you and them want two different things, right? Is there something like that that's going on? I don't know. And then two, I also feel like you have to ask yourself what it is that you're looking for long-term, because that Hierophant is about like long-term relationships and commitment, and, you know, like can also be about what society expects of us, that kind of stuff. Grace says, the astrology tells me it could be something beautiful in the future, but my needs aren't being met, and there is love and commitment is the issue. So here's the thing, right? I kind of feel like if you decide to leave the relationship, right, being the South Node's in Libra, so you got to look at the eclipses. South Node is touching your Venus, so it's going to be about releasing and letting something go, and it can come back to you with the eclipses. But I feel like with the Four of Cups and the Hierophant and the Moon card, like there is this sense of being like, I'm going to walk away because I'm not happy. My needs aren't being met. And if somebody doesn't stop you from walking away, then like you got to keep on walking. I know that sounds like harsh advice, but from Venus and Capricorn, like if somebody doesn't give you a reason to stay, you got to go. And maybe perhaps they will realize in your absence, right? The Moon card, where are you? I'm not connecting to you. I can't hear from you. You know, they will show back up, the Two of Cups. And if you're having a South Node return on top of that, that tells me that you have Venus in aspect to your South Node. So there is this theme in your life of like reconnecting with partners from past lives, people leaving, people coming back around, so on and so forth. You have to also know that so much of the North Node in Aries is about going your own way, right? And as planets go through Capricorn, it's basically saying, well, we got to be focusing on like, you know, doing the work in relationships and showing up and like, you know, all that fun stuff. So I do feel like you're aware that your needs aren't being met. You do know in your heart of hearts, you know, probably what you're looking for and what they're looking for are two different things. The Moon can be that fear of actually making the separation and moving forward. But I think that in the absence of you not being there and being available, it may give them that opportunity to realize and recognize like, wow, I've got a good thing going here. I don't want to let this person go. You get what I'm saying? So you can't really, and during a nodal return, I'm not going to say you don't get a say in things, but you definitely have to really fall in alignment with what that North Node wants, right? And if you have South Node and Venus in Libra, it means that you've had a lot of relationship karma in the past. Look at where your natal Mars is. That's going to give you more information about how to really show up for your North Node. Such a pivotal time the next couple of months. Planets going into Capricorn, Mars going into Capricorn. We're going to have eclipses in the spring in Aries. And the more that you're going your own way, the more that you may be able to kind of actually see that it can be bringing in what you do want. So rather than focusing on what you don't have or what's not working, you'll have the opportunity to bring in what does work, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you, Grace. Difficult stuff for sure. But usually if you let it go, something else comes in its place. So look at your natal Mars placements. I've got Amanda and Aram. I see Queen of Light Bulbs. She says, can you briefly catch me up on what the confirmation card indicates in your readings? You know, sometimes the confirmation card is like, if I'm left on a cliffhanger, it'll be like, okay, well, can you tell me any more about this final card or this situation? It's like a signifier sometimes. All right, so we've got Amanda. Amanda says, I broke up with my ex back in June, but he contacted me on the 23rd and told me that he was still in love with me and could not get over me. I still have feelings for him, but recently started seeing someone. Can you pull some advice? Can you pull some cards with advice from Spirit? I'm a Capricorn sun, Taurus moon, Virgo rising. Woof. All that earth. So Mercury, which rules your chart, went retrograde starting in your 5th house of dating. It went into the 4th house, which is the past. And you've got Jupiter and Uranus somewhere around your moon. Jupiter rules your 7th house. Interesting. My ex is a Cancer sun, Gemini moon. Yuck. Sag rising. More yuck. All right, let's see. Sag rising, Gemini moon. I mean, you have to understand, Sag rising, mutable, changeable, freedom-loving. Gemini represents 2 options, 2 partners, and then it's in the 7th house. So it means that they could bring people in that are interested in other people, and then they come back. It means that they're very relationship-oriented. The Cancer sun is great, but I think with the Cancer sun and that being in the whole sign 8th house, they kind of hide a lot. So there can almost be like this sense of like, not knowing how to make up their mind. And you're very, what you see is what you get with all that earth in your chart. So you're just kind of like matter of fact, you know? That's what I would call a hot ass mutable mess that they have. Let's see. My dog's a Gemini moon. Not to make a comparison between your ex and my dog, but I can definitely see the craziness in that Gemini moon of kind of being all over the place. All right, so we've got 2 of coins, we've got the King of Wands, and we have got the 5 of Cups. Our dog is horrible. He's not horrible. He's not horrible. He's got Sun and Mars in Libra, so he like affectionately attacks everybody. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know if he knows that there's another person. Maybe it's his ego. Maybe he feels it. I really genuinely feel like he feels like he's losing that sense of connection. I'm not going to say he's bored because I don't think that's what this is. But there is some disappointment, feeling left out, feeling reminiscent. I mean, Sag rising, Saturn's in the 4th house. They're lonely, right? And you're seeing that there's retrogrades and things that are going on where they are quite literally kind of questioning themselves, or there is this sense of not feeling wanted. And so 5 of Cups can be like a lot of like being in their own mess and kind of being sad. And, you know, I feel like with the King of Wands coming up and the 2 of Coins is this feeling of like not having a connection to you or not having a sway over you. And I feel like there is this instinctual knowing that you have moved on. And so they're trying to kind of feel things out and kind of be like, well, you know, what's happening there? Some food for thought for Sag rising. The fact that we're going to see Jupiter go into the 7th house for Sag rising, Saturn's going to be in the 4th house. New relationships are going to start showing up for them, but there is still this feeling of being stuck in the past. So that's something they will deal with all next year. Intuitively, I also feel like for you, you know, the 5 of Cups can be saying like, really think about the past. Like what happened there? You know, what happened there? Like, were you guys actually really happy together? I mean, you know, no relationship is perfect, but 5 of Cups can be this feeling of like when you were with them, they may have been showing you some like similar kind of behaviors or a sense of not really being able to move on or not being totally like emotionally satisfied. And so I think with the King of Wands coming up right now and the two of Coins is like you kind of going like, do I take action on this? You know, I'm finally getting some sense of like emotional response from this person, or like, you know, they're now telling me how they really feel. And like, you can very much read into things. because you're so practical with all that earth, that I don't know if I would get involved in this right now. I feel like all Cancer placements in general are really reevaluating past relationships because of the retrograde. And the Five of Cups is kind of saying, like, I'm just sad that things aren't really working and, like, I don't have what I want. And I feel like you have moved on. They feel this. I don't have a good feeling about the Two of Coins, because I do feel like there can be a sense of you kind of saying, wait a second, you know, do I go back? Do I put this person on hold? I would not do that. I don't think that that's a good idea. The Strength card's coming up as the confirmation card for that. So I do feel like it's saying, like, no, stay strong. You know, I feel like if somebody really wanted to reconnect or have you back in their life, they wouldn't just like call you, you know, in the middle of holiday season and say that. They would proactively continue to try to maintain a relationship with you, even if it's just a friendship. And I think what you might find is that if this person doesn't get the response that they were looking for from you, the whole, yeah, you're right, let's make it work, let's get back together, I'm going to drop everything, or I'm going to change what I'm doing, like, I would protect my energy right now. I wouldn't take on more than one relationship. I would stay consistent with who you're seeing if that's what you want to do. I would not make any concessions for this person, because I feel like this is somebody who's kind of grasping at things, trying to see what's going to make them like feel good again. And I don't necessarily think that you're the answer. And I'd be really careful with getting entirely too wrapped up there. The Strength card is basically saying that they need to be willing to do the necessary work to find that fulfillment within themselves. And if that person keeps coming back and they keep trying to build a relationship with you, even if it's as a friend, and you tell them I'm in a relationship and they keep trying, great. I don't think they will. I think that once they don't get the immediate gratification of knowing that they're going to have some kind of sway over you, or that they're going to be able to kind of bring you back around, I think that they may vanish a little bit. So see what they do, see if they stay consistent, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I would not give up what you've got going on for somebody who's not entirely sure and is kind of like wishy-washy. That's my hot take. Let's see. Amanda, Indie Intuitive, who is that? Who is that? Been seeing someone who is divorcing, but an old flame is reconnecting, feel confused. Yeah, I will take yours next. Queen of Lightbulb says, when the North Node is in Aries in the 7th house, does that also mean go your own way, or is that more about developing, increasing? Both. When the North Node is going through your 7th house, it's about relationships and partnerships, but it's also about Aries, so it can be conflict. So it can be about working through conflict with other people, developing a better relationship with yourself, people coming in who encourage you or inspire you. So it's both. Let me know if you have any feedback or anything, Amanda. Aram, I'm going to have you up next after I take Indy. Indy says, been seeing someone who's divorcing, but an old flame is reconnecting. Feel confused. Could you guide me? I'm a Sag Sun, Virgo rising. Same. Both are Sag Suns too. One is a Scorpio rising, the other is a Virgo rising. So the Scorpio rising has Uranus in their 7th house, so they are divorcing. And the Virgo rising has Saturn in their 7th house, so that means that there is a sense of like the relationship having cooled off, or there being like a lack of intimacy, or maybe a lack of love there. So let's take a look. So you're seeing someone who's divorcing, and then the old flame is around. I would just say, for you, you're a Sag Sun, Virgo rising. It's a lot of what I was just discussing, actually. So that should make sense. Let's take a look. So what do you need to know about your love life right now? You got these 2 people you're going back and forth with. Oops. The Death card says, change is on the horizon. I love how cards will flip over when they want themselves to be seen. Knight of Wands, the 9 of Cups, and then the Hermit card. So, I think with the Death card like jumping up and this being like the overarching theme of your question is kind of like, you're going through changes, you're dealing with people who are going through changes. In order for us to really reap the benefits of the new, the past has to be put in the past. You know, in this card, you see that there's 2 towers and there's the sun that's rising right? So it's saying like there's like a dawn, there's like a new day that's coming, but only after we've kind of completed and ended and cleared out the past. And so it may be difficult. So one thing to take into consideration is that you're dealing with people who are still needing to put the past in the past for two separate reasons, right? Personally, I feel like, the person who's divorcing, regardless of who that is, it's interesting because it means that they can be willing, if they're consciously saying, hey, I'm ending this thing, I'm ready to move forward into something new. If they're embracing that energy, it can be good. It can mean that the new relationship is giving them sense of hope for the future and renewal. I do feel like the Knight of Wands is interesting because this does talk about Sagittarius energy. So you're saying you're a Sag and both of them are Sag suns too. See, what you want to be careful with is in this next year, as Jupiter is going into Gemini in your 7th house, Jupiter is your chart ruler. It can mean that there's opportunity for relationships, but it can also mean that there's too many cooks in the kitchen. You could be getting involved with people who are involved with other people or that are still dealing with other people. The squares to Saturn could mean them not letting go of the past or still, dealing with, politics relating to the divorce, or they're, trying to sell off houses and like, oh my goodness, it's just, The Knight of Wands does talk about pursuing what makes you happy. What is going to bring the most romance, the most excitement, the most fun, the most spontaneity. It's about going where you want to go and whatever is going to bring you, joy or excitement. So you're likely to go after that. And being that you guys are all Sagittarians, I do feel like a lot of this is also going to be about whether or not you guys are engaging because you're looking for something that's entertainment or something that's just going to be fun or in the moment, or if you're actually looking for something that has room for growth. Right now, I think with like the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Cups, it's about, really the pursuit of pleasure, going after what's gonna make you feel good or where you're feeling wanted, or maybe right now you like feeling chased. That's the other way that I could look at it. I do think that the Hermit card does seem to signify that you will get to a point where you're going to kind of take a step back and you're going to go, do I like this dynamic, right? Do I enjoy this? Or am I seeking a life of being with people who are unavailable or people who are in complicated situations because it's giving you the freedom and like the ability to kind of keep to yourself and be independent? There's a reason why we call Sagittarius, especially Sag risings, the bachelors of the zodiac, because they're ruled by Jupiter. They like to roam. They like to go and do their thing. The Scorpio rising is probably more likely to have commitment because they like to have fixed things and they like stability, and Jupiter and Uranus are in their 7th house, so relationships are going to be a big focus in this next year. Being a Virgo rising, the Mercury retrograde can be about going back and forth with two different people, right? And at least with the other Virgo rising, you guys are on the same page. But the thing is that Saturn rules the 5th house for a Virgo rising. And so Saturn moving into the 7th means that if there isn't something you're creating, if there isn't true love, if there isn't commitment, if there isn't both of you guys doing the work when it comes to creating that romance, then the relationship dies. And so if you do go back to somebody who you've been involved with in the past, as Saturn's going through your 7th house, it means that there needs to be a much more mature way of approaching this relationship. It means that you have to be more so committed, that there has to be a common goal and vision for the relationship together, and that it needs to kind of manifest in a much like more mature way. There needs to be a sense of, timing and really kind of seeing things from the same perspective. Personally, I think about eclipses in the 7th house for Virgo risings, and that you're going to have eclipses in the 7th. It's going to be conjunct Neptune. You'll see this in the fall next year. It's going to square Jupiter. So the big challenge is going to be being in relationships and then, being with people who may suddenly decide, well, I don't know if I want to be in a relationship, or I don't know if I want to be committed again, or I'm not ready to make a decision about living with somebody, or I don't want to be official. These things can happen. And so there can be some conflict of like growth within the relationship. So regardless of who you're talking to, I'd be like, what are you looking for? What do you want? What are you doing? And I really think right now you're more comfortable being in a position of feeling like you're having fun and you're being chased. And as you get into this next year, you might start really reflecting on, well, do I want that? Or do I want something that's going to give me more, like seriousness and commitment? And only you're going to be able to answer that. But you're dealing with people who are kind of going through change across the board. And I think maybe some of the experiences that you're having is going to show you where you're actually making a conscious change, or you're making shifts revolving around how you are in relationships, right? The Death card could very much be about that you're not just looking for drama, you're looking for depth. You're not just looking for passion, you're looking for, commitment, or you're looking for like actual partnership. And definitely think that the Scorpio rising is going to be one that you're going to want to watch. Even if that's the one going through the divorce, I have a feeling it's very possible that may be somebody who's really open to actually having much more of a committed relationship in the next year. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we have Aram, who says, one card, I'm pursuing a new job opportunity. If they make an offer next week, will it be good for my career? And if you guys want to get in and you want to get a reading, you're going to get in the queue, please do. I see Sarah got in there, Marsha and Brandon. Also Carmen, I've got you, Carmen. You're welcome, Indy. Before we last call here pretty soon. All right, so Aram says, one card, pursuing a new job opportunity. If they make an offer next week, will it be good for my career? And then Carmen, you're next. Whew, Tower card. Confirmed with the 4 of coins. Well, first of all, I feel like the Tower card is being like, you either get an answer that you're not wild about, or you get a response and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of disappointing, or you're feeling like they're giving you a offer that you can't really come back from, right? The confirmation card for me was the 4 of coins. So I feel like they say to you, well, here's the offer, but this is the cap in the salary. This is what we're willing to kind of give you. How they end up talking to you is something that I would really pay attention to, because I feel like the Tower card could basically be them saying to you, well, we were planning on making an offer, but, things have changed with our budget. We'll get back to you. Or we need a little bit more time and we're still kind of sussing people out. That 4 of coins is the confirmation, is that the blow that may come about is less about whether or not they want to bring you on, more about whether or not they feel like they have the resources to do that, or whether or not they're going to be able to pay what you're asking to pay. There can be some disappointment revolving around what they're actually offering you. The Tower card can also be talking about that there are situations that are out of somebody's control. So they may come back to you and say, actually, we're still kind of tied up. We need some more time before we're actually able to bring somebody in. Definitely a difficult card, but the Tower card can be talking about changes and rearrangements, and maybe where they thought they were going to be hiring people, or what they were planning on offering people, and how that's somehow changing. This will make more sense, especially as we get into the new year, because Mars is going to go into Capricorn and Mercury is going to go direct. So I think there's maybe some changes going on with like upper management. There can be changes with the team that they were working with, or, HR, people who are hiring. And so they might say to you like, well, we need a little bit more time to get back to people. Just whatever you do, like, don't get lowballed, because I think that the Tower card and the 4 of coins can be them saying, well, this is what we can offer you, take it or leave it. And there may be some sense of disappointment, because you might be like, wow, I really wanted this position, but like, I'm not willing to do it for this price, or I'm not willing to do it for, a lesser title. And it's about them not giving something up. So 4 of coins is saying, watch for that. Good luck. Come back. Let me know. Leave me a comment when you hear from them. All right, so we've got the super chat. Thank you, Cassie. I got you. Cassie says, I'm a Libra sun, Scorpio moon, and rising. Wonder what this next year's theme is, and any insight on my home life. I've been struggling with my anxiety and I feel stuck in general. I'm curious what to do next. Thank you. All right, well, you are a 12th house Libra sun, so you got some stuff going on, girl, between eclipses in your 12th house, where it's clearing out the subconscious, Pluto going into the 4th house, wanting to change major things revolving around your home, And Jupiter and Uranus are going to be keeping things real interesting in your relationship sector. Let's see what these cards have to say for you. I could see anxiety also. Scorpio risings, the Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house. Communication issues, but those are going to get better. You're going to see Mars going into your 3rd house, being aware of how you can take better charge of things. Interesting. The Lover's card with 2 kings. Thank you, Aram. Good luck. I'm sending you lots of good vibes. I really feel like the Lover's card with the 2 kings might talk about feeling like you're a bit torn between 2 options. Maybe it's about 2 different ways that you can express yourself. The King of Wands talks about this fire element. It's, creative, it's fierce, it's active, it's confident. This can also be talking about a Sagittarius, a Leo, or an Aries. And then we have the King of Swords, which is an air element, which can be about a Libra, a Gemini, or an Aquarius. And this is about being more serious, more stern, more direct, more about information, communication. And so to me, I'm wondering, what is this divide or this separation? Do you feel like you're stuck between doing something that seems logical and practical, or, something creative? Do you feel torn between 2 potential romantic or relationship opportunities? The Lover's card talks about paths and options and choices. It talks about going this way or going that way. And when I look at the Lover's card, it makes me wonder, is it about feeling like you're open to, new connections with other people? I'd be lying to you if I said that life was not going to be pretty colorful next year. I think for Libras in general, eclipses happening in Aries is about new relationship opportunities, meeting new people. If you're single, significant relationships can kind of pop into your life over this next year. A lot of that is getting out of your own way and letting go of old storylines, especially being a 12th house sun where you're hiding away and you kind of keep part of yourself private. I think about how Scorpio risings are going to have Pluto go into Aquarius, and there is some huge shift revolving around home and family. And so you might be relocating, you might be moving back home, you might have big changes with your parents or with your family. And then we have Jupiter, which is here to bring joy and abundance and expansion, and Uranus, which is shocks and surprises in your 7th. Home and relationships will change, and relationships can help you in a very big way navigate some of these changes that are going on with your emotions, your home, and your family. And I think that the Lover's card is really kind of saying that there is this creative side of you and this really kind of practical, serious side of you, and they're kind of in conflict right now with what you want out of life. I refuse to get a job because it feels like I'm going to lose myself again to it. I want to start something new. So, so much of the Lovers is about also learning how to integrate and merge 2 things together, to bring 2 things together. So it means that you can take something about practicality and stability and resourcefulness and be able to bring that to a creative endeavor, right? I also feel like this can mean that you're having a heart-to-heart conversation. The Lovers can be about connecting with another person and really talking about what it is that you're hoping to achieve. Achievement is a big thing with the King of Wands. He wants to feel like he's accomplishing something. The King of Swords is more about knowing something, right? So this can be about, huge shifts that are going on in your career because you decide to write something, or you decide to learn something, or you decide to teach something. That could happen with the King of Swords. But definitely feeling like you're at a bit of a crossroads. And I feel like a lot of this is about integrating the 2 and learning that you can have both, that it doesn't have to be black and white. I would look for help that's probably going to be coming from, air and fire signs that can kind of really help you bridge the gaps and things. I love Scorpio rising charts and the eclipses that are going to happen in the 6th house, where it's you finally get out of your own way. If there has been bad habits or blockages at work or issues with health or, issues feeling self-starting, you'll be able to overcome that. And it may come from routine and better, habit building. And it may come from having more time for fitness or organization. New jobs may emerge for you here as well. And, you know, even if it takes you all year, the end of 2024, Mars will retrograde through your 10th house. So you'll have the opportunity to reevaluate or take a step back from work anyway, right? If that's something that you're wanting to do. So there's plenty of time for this, but I think that the changes are really kind of happening for you emotionally and also like in your home life. And that's really where there's going to be some big shifts revolving around, you know, now what you can start accomplishing and kind of putting together. Okay. Good luck. I hope that is helpful for you. Queen of Light Bulb says, I am cashing in on my monthly reading. Let me just make sure I don't have you here. Nope. I got you. She says, are things going to turn around in my favor soon? What can I expect moving forward? 29 degrees, Cancer, Sun, conjunct the North Node. Whoa, so Pluto is coming into conjunction with your South Node. And you have an Aries moon, and Uranus is getting ready to square your ascendant. That's a lot of transits, girl. Good luck, Cassie. All right, so let's take a look at Queen of Light Bulbs. Are things going her way? How is she going to expect things moving forward? Pluto on the North Node. Oh, man. That's really learning a lot about your Pluto rulership, right? The 4th house. So there's big changes going on emotionally and within the home front and also with relationships, right? Whole sign. We're talking whole sign here. All right, so we've got Queen of Cups, 10 of Wands, 10 of Swords, 3 of Wands. Okay. Obviously, looking at the spread, you know, being here in a situation where the 10 of Swords is in the middle, you're like in the midst of it right now. You're like in the midst of like the clearing. You're in the midst of like clearing things out. You're in the midst of being like, okay, I'm ready to be done with this stuff. Queen of Cups talks about tapping into that intuitive side, tapping into your emotions. There may be something that's telling you like you're not quite out of the woods yet. I would say really until Pluto makes that conjunction, right, to your South Node, that's when you're really going to start to see that kind of releasing and that like letting go. I think the Queen of Cups also talks about, you know, being compassionate and sensitive and emotional and like where your emotions are really trying to get your attention, right? That's really very, very obvious in this chart, and like helping you finally heal wounds that need to be healed, that need to be dealt with. You know, that 10 of Swords in the current position is disappointment, right? Obviously feeling like somebody overlooked you, or that you were stabbed in the back, or that you didn't get what you needed, or that there is some kind of like, okay, that's done and over. And like, clearly there's still something that you need to grieve. Some would say when heavy planets like Pluto hit your South Node, you're going to be reminded of when there's been past life crisis or when there's been past life loss. There can be, especially because it's going through your 6th house, where other people are going through crisis, and it brings something up in you where you're like, oh, I remember when I had my first heartbreak, or I remember when I got fired. I remember when I lost, you know, like my grandma, whatever. And you're experiencing that through other people. And I think maybe the 10 of Swords is about like doing your due diligence to do your healing, so you're not feeling the effects of like this mirrored relationship with other people. Because 7th house can project. So, you know, other people can project their pain onto you. Other people can project, you know, their relationship issues onto you. And it's like right now you're in a position where no, you gotta do that work now. You have to do that. Especially as Jupiter and Uranus are coming into your 10th house, it's going to be about like wildly redefining who you are outside of relationships, outside of your past. And Uranus is going to be kind of dancing with these squares for a while. So you can get stuck in the what's falling apart, what's not working, what doesn't feel good, what isn't, you know, going in your favor. Or you could go, what has happened has happened. I can't change the past. All I can do is learn from it. Am I disappointed? Sure, but I'm not going to get stuck there. And I'm certainly not going to allow myself to feel like a victim. And I'm not going to allow these emotions to, continue to manifest in a way where it's creating bigger problems for me physically, spiritually, or emotionally down the road. Three of Wands talks about not just being optimistic about going somewhere new, but like actually getting the show on the road. So this can talk about movement, moving your body, traveling, learning, some sense of excitement, going somewhere, picking a lane. This is my pick a lane card. When we think of the Ace of Wands, like, I need some excitement. And the Two of Wands is like, what are we going to do tonight? The Three of Wands is like, you've made your decision. You're on your way. You don't know where you're going. You don't know how it's going to play out yet. But movement and a change of scenery seems to be the theme. So it is possible that, intuitively you're feeling like, if I stay in this position, if I stay in this place, if I don't deal with this stuff, it's going to get worse. I'm going to, kind of fall deeper into the spiral. So I need to do something. I need to be on the move, and be proactive. This is a card that's about being proactive as well, rising to the occasion and taking chances. And this might also mean that you're having to learn something new. Threes are about communication. It's about travel. It's about knowledge, information, reaching out to other people. And it can also be about speaking up about not what has happened or what keeps happening, but about where things are going. I love when I pull this card personally. I try to remind myself that I need to be telling people that things are happening in the now, because this can also be like a manifestation card. This is very like life is what you make it. So I would get into the habit of using mantras in your practice, and talking about things happening in the now. Like Esther Hicks says, being in the vortex, right? Health and money and resources and relationships, they all come easily to me. Everything's always working out for me. That's really what this card is about. Kind of being in that mindset so that when you're getting out of the past and you're also really learning to listen to your emotions and maybe not falling into a pattern again where you're feeling so emotionally or energetically kind of beat down to where you're having to take so much time just to kind of get right side up again, right? So being proactive, being focused on the solution. Power of now, ding. Eckhart Tolle. Oh man, that entire book. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you. Queen of Wands, giving you a little bit of insight on how to navigate this, but you're going somewhere. The future looks bright. I have Sarah, Marcia, and Brandon. Let's see, anybody else before we call final call? All right, we'll do final call in 5 minutes. All right, Sarah says, hey, I'm wondering what advice I would get for 2024. I've already had a wild 2023, and I know it's not over yet. God be with me. Thank you so much. Much love. Thanks to you. I'm a Taurus sun, 8th house, Pisces moon, Virgo rising. You're welcome, Queen of Light Bulbs. Yeah, Virgo risings. Holy cow. You guys have had a wild one. I like how you're not challenging the universe, because you know that there's only a few more days left in the year. All right, so let's take a look. So what bit of advice is the tarot going to give Sarah for 2024? Think about the mutable squares next year, and being willing to make some big changes in your relationships and your career. That's what I would say, but let's see what the tarot says. In this order. Overcoming obstacles, learning not to get beat down, keeping things moving. Trusting your intuition also, and dealing with maybe uncovering some falsities or some dishonesty, some disappointment. Yeah, I mean, I think of Virgo rising and Saturn and Neptune being in your relationship house and Jupiter going into your 10th house of career. It's very obvious that you need support from other people. It's also very obvious that, you're going to be embracing some new kind of status or some kind of career growth. It's all about putting things out in the open as Jupiter goes into your 10th house, and like a lot of visibility, right? So honesty, truth, communication, these are all going to be important things with Jupiter, your 10th house. I do feel like the Eight of Wands is talking about life coming at you very quickly, that you're going to feel like this next year is going to be on the move. It might mean that right now there is this build up to that. I know a lot of Virgo risings are like having home and housing issues or family issues, or there's kind of like a misunderstanding or miscommunication with relatives or partnerships. And I think the Eight of Wands is basically saying, as you start this next year, you're going to be feeling this constant push and this momentum moving forward. And I think a lot of that's going to be Jupiter squaring all your stuff. I do think this is also about being on the upside of some of this change and being like, okay, I know I have to go in this direction, so I'm just going to get the show on the road rather than resisting it. Seven of Swords is a card that I'm not completely fond of, to be honest with you. This can be about trust, trustworthiness, who you can trust. Are you trusting yourself? This can also be a card that talks about truth and uncovering truth and realizing and recognizing what you can actually rely on, or if there are some things that are not so reliable. Jupiter rules your family and also rules your relationships. And we're going to see that Jupiter is going to go into your 10th house of career, and it's going to square Neptune. So there's going to be this sense of being like, well, who can I rely on? Who can I trust? Can I trust my partners? Can I trust my family? Can I trust, my career? You're probably most likely going to put most of your faith, I think, in my opinion, into relationships and career. You may find that there are some changes going on with your home or your living situation. You may feel that there is some uncertainty moving forward, that you're kind of questioning whether or not, you're in the right place at the right time. Certainly the Seven of Swords, if it's not about, untrustworthy situations, it's about whether or not you can trust yourself. And then the Nine of Wands coming up is talking about overcoming adversity. This is about assessing the situation, picking yourself back up, dusting yourself off. Maybe a lot of it is looking at what's happened in this last year, and you're kind of deciding, how much more you want to take going into 2024. I do like that Jupiter and Uranus are going to be in Taurus in your 9th house. So it's going to be trining your ascendant some way, shape, or form. Right now, actually, throughout the Mercury retrograde, there's lots of trines to the 5th house. So, it's getting Virgo risings to think about, what do I love and how can I cultivate more creativity and how can I be more in touch with my own needs? And does that mean I need to travel more? Does that mean I need to go back to school? I need to learn something. I need to take on a teacher or a mentorship. I think a lot of it's also with Saturn in your 7th, like learning how to ask other people for support and not feeling like you need to go at things on your own and you just need to kind of like white knuckle, life. I mean, I think it's about learning how to ask family or friends or relationships or counselors or therapists for support. So that way you can be a little bit more optimistic and not feel like you're kind of doing things on your own. So there is a lot of surveying what is left at the end of 2023, questioning, moving forward where you have the most stability. But once again, Eight of Wands, being proactive, taking action, moving forward, and also moving the energy around. So if you're feeling restless, it's about movement or travel. But this can also be about, changes happening very quickly. And I do think before you make any major moves, with that Eight of Wands and the Seven of Swords, there can also be this sense of being like, am I making the right moves in where I'm living or where I'm going or who I'm with? And like all the Neptune squares right now to your 7th house is questioning or doubting other people or other people's motives, or if they hear you or if they are there. But we want to make lemonade. The lemonade is that Saturn in your relationship house sextiling Jupiter, Uranus in your, travel or career house, your travel or learning house means that if you have solid foundation in relationships, you're going to have more faith and optimism. So you're not going to question things. So you want people who are going to show you that they're committed to their relationship with you and that they're going to kind of stick by your side. And if people can't do that, then I think Jupiter in the 10th house is going to be like you looking around being like, I got to give this to myself, Yeah. Yep, it's a big one. But when you have these mutable squares happening in angular houses in, your 4th, your 7th, your 10th, it makes the wheel of the chart turn. So it does bring you positive changes all around. Good luck. And you'll survive the Mercury retrograde. It'll be over on the 1st. We have last call for those of you guys who still want to get a reading. The last live of the year. We got Marcia and Brandon. So Marcia says, in dispute with HOA over the foundation issues of my townhome. How and when will this be resolved? This is Marcia, by the way. I just changed my social to mirror some changes I'm about to have with Pluto transiting my first house. I love that. Oh, defund the HOA. Just kidding. In a dispute with them over foundation issues. Don't you have like some squares to your 4th house going on? Good luck, Sarah. Let's see, Marcia, 9 of Swords. We don't want that stress and anxiety here. 7 of Coins. I kind of feel like part of what might happen, I mean, 9 of Swords is like, stressing over things that you have or you feel like you have no control over, right? Something that it's keeping you up at night. You're stressing about it and you're worrying about it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? There's nothing that you can do other than doing your due diligence. That 7 of Coins is the confirmation card. You might have to invest a little bit of time, energy, or money into being like, okay, I'm gonna get a second opinion. I'm gonna get something surveyed. I'm going to get a professional opinion or something that I can turn over to them to see if they're actually going to take responsibility for this. 7 of Coins can be about how much energy do I want to put into this conflict? How much money do I want to put into this situation? How much time do I want to spend going back and forth with them? So obviously disputes bring anxiety. Have you been able to get any information back from like a third party that's maybe assessed this? It sounds like you realize you're having foundation issues, but have you taken this to someone and said, hey, I've got these problems. Can you give me, some feedback or give me a report, or can you kind of survey this and then get back to me? Because to me, it seems like while you may have to spend a little time and energy doing this, it may help relieve some of your anxiety and make you feel better and realize that even though it's a hassle, it may prove to be beneficial, right? Because you may have to have the burden of proof. But yeah, you'll have to invest some time and some energy in order to kind of do this. Timing wise, 9 of Swords is saying the more that you're stressing about the matter, the longer that it can take. The more conflict that there is, the longer that it can take. I also feel like the 7 of Coins is saying if you're persistent and if you keep with it, it may potentially pay off. Sag Sun, so you got Saturn 4 houses from your sun, so that's part of this. Aquarius rising, so you've got Jupiter and Uranus that are going to move through your 4th house whole sign, and now Jupiter's direct. And Jupiter and Uranus coming into conjunction with your 4th house next year could literally talk about having to upend something, with the home, fixing literally the foundation. It could also be about something buckling or some kind of problems with the foundation or even with electrical things. It could talk about the money that could potentially come also from some home-related matters and whether or not, you're going to get it handled or taken care of, right? Your last reading for me is back in October and it's proven to be spot on, of course. Okay, I'm glad I'm able to help. But, personally, I really feel like for you, I would go and do your due diligence and invest the time and a little bit of money to go and get a professional opinion. So that way, if you really want to be able to kind of show up and lay it all out there for the HOA and be like, look, this is either negligence or this is something that you guys didn't take care of, what have you. So that way you're better covered. That's likely what's going to happen. All Saggies are having issues with home in some way, shape, or form. So when you think about being an Aquarius rising and having Saturn that's squaring, Saturn's hanging out right now in Pisces. So there's a lot of what's coming, what's next, where is my support kind of coming from? And a lot of it can be about the work that you're doing behind the scenes. 7 to 9 weeks is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. I feel like at the very least, you're going to get a really honest kind of like idea of what it's going to take to fix it. At the very most, you might have something that maybe you had to spend a little time and money on, but you could possibly take it to them and be like, look, this is on you. Structural engineer, perfect. Yeah. I also know that as an Aquarius rising, with all the planets going into Aquarius in February, Mars, Venus, Mercury, all these planets, they're going to square Jupiter and Uranus. So it's going to be you basically being like, you're going to fix this, or you're going to pay up. You're going to take care of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, your willingness and determination coming down on them over the matter, they're probably going to look at this and go, we don't want to pay this bill. So you're going to go, okay, well then you're going to pay contractors to come in and fix it. Knowing that there is going to be still some squares between your first house and your fourth house, just be mindful that there can be a tendency to kind of have to keep pushing. And I've seen some Aquarius risings who are going through this already that are now pursuing lawsuits against HOAs or old homeowners or, landlords or things like that, that like they have reason and then some to sue them and they're receiving settlements. 4 to 8 peers, but HOA failed to do anything for months. So there you go. I mean, it's that simple. It may be a matter of, having to do your due diligence, especially with eclipses in Libra in your 9th house, where you may have to maybe pay somebody and serve them with like a legal document or serve them with a certified mail that's like, look, I want a response to this. And you're going to start having something kind of put together. So you're having something that's basically like on record. But I do think that it's going to be time and it's going to be a hassle, but I think that it's going to pay off. Sending you good vibes. It's obviously so annoying. Isn't that what they're there for? Isn't it so interesting how like HOA is so quick to kind of like get on your ass about something, but the second they are not taking care of something or fixing something or owning up to it, even though you're paying for it, they're nowhere to be found. Annoying. Sending you lots of good vibes in the midst of that, and hopefully things pay out better than you could wildly imagine with Jupiter and Uranus in your 4th house. Maybe you'll escape to the country, right? We have Brandon. What's up, Brandon? And Nerman. Okay, so Brandon says, why do I keep seeing the number 369 in some variation? Why do I keep seeing the numbers 369? Steps, my friend. I like that. Ooh, Knight of Swords. I feel like, well, first of all, something's trying to get your attention, right? Something's trying to get your attention. Page of Pentacles. For me, 369 is like mental, it's mutable, it's movement, it's change, it's communication, something of that kind of connection. The Knight of Swords is about trying to get you to do something with that information, trying to get you to take some kind of action, trying to get you to travel, learn, relocate. Maybe it's possible that this is some message that's getting to you about, potential travel that's going to be underway. Maybe it's trying to teach you something. Have you looked up the combination of that? I mean, obviously you're seeing like the 333 or 666 or 639, whatever. But the threes correlate with Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. Right? And these are all changing how we communicate, changing our habits, changing how we're working, changing how we're learning. Right? I'm listening to Little John. That's hilarious. But it's a message about movement. It's a message about change. And maybe it can be about how you're communicating some of your ideas and the way that you are opening up to new habits, to new patterns, to new work. The one thing that would be missing is the 12, right? Because that would be like Pisces. So maybe it's that, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. It's talking about meditation, reflection, intuition and dreams, and being able to get into the habit of writing them down, relaying that, putting it into, action, how it's kind of navigating and helping you make bigger decisions about your faith and your philosophy. Being an Aries rising, right? I'm pretty sure that's what you are. I think about how, Mars is going to be going into Capricorn pretty soon. So it's a lot of work stuff, but in February, we're going to see a lot of placements go through Aquarius, and it's going to be making aspects to the third house. And I think this is going to be about taking action, gathering together with other people, learning with groups, collaborating with groups, being more social. So maybe you'll see opportunities to swiftly move, travel, connect with people. And this is going to be about you kind of saying yes, I want to do this, and seizing the moment or opportunities when they manifest. But yeah. Start writing down the variations is what I would say also, because this can be about writing, learning, sharing, interpreting. And for me, 3s are always about something kind of changing in some capacity. Hope that's helpful for you. So this is for Ness. Ness says, I am disputing my 6-month performance review meeting January 3rd. How do you see it going and the outcome? Well, I can tell you, just knowing the astrology of the new year with Mercury going direct and then being in Sagittarius and squaring Neptune, one of the biggest annoyances, I would say, of the last month has been a lot of miscommunications and misunderstandings and people misinterpreting or falsely representing, or people having different belief systems or different perspectives. It could literally be translation issues, communication issues, that kind of stuff. But Mercury will be direct, which is positive. But 2, I think it's going to be about this conflict with the square between Mercury and Neptune of being well, you see things this way, I see things this way. And Mercury and Sag is I am taking care of everything. I do know everything. I am proactive. And Neptune's this is what you're not taking care of. So there can be some sense of not getting recognition where recognition is due. You're a Libra rising. So, the sun is in your 10th house, and part of what's going on is that Mercury has been retrograde in Capricorn in opposition to your sun. So not feeling like you're getting the recognition from other people. Eclipse is in the 7th house, and the squares to the 7th house, which is about kind of challenging other people maybe. So let's see what the cards say. Let's see how they seem to think this is going to go. Saturn is now direct. That's something else I would say is Saturn in your 6th house coming into a trine with your sun can mean that you're starting to get that recognition, but it's after going back over things and combing through the fine details and all that stuff. Brandon, I love that. I would say you're going to have opportunities to travel suddenly. That's what I think. And you're going to be yes, let's do it. All right, Ness, I got it in this order. 2 aces in the Tower card. Curious about what's happening and the outcome. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and obviously I hope that I'm wrong. But the Tower card being in the final position is kind of walking away from this review being what's been said has been said. What's happened has happened. What's done is done. And probably still not having the same perspective. Still, not really kind of seeing things from the same perspective. I do feel the Tower can be the sense of being okay, now that we've spoken our piece or we've said what we've said, you may, or they may make the decision to be okay, we're going to go our separate ways. I do feel the Ace of Swords talks about communication, fierce communication, being direct, to the point, going over a contract, going over notes, going over things that people have said or done. It can be about data. Or records. And then Ace of Wands is talking about opportunities in regards to action. And it can also be talking about new creative opportunities, new job opportunities. It's frustrating because I feel these 2 aces are really good. There's a lot of being this is what we have to say, this is what we're going to do about it. Or this is what we think, and this is the action that we're taking. There is some sense of feeling justified. So when you're telling me that, you're going to be potentially challenging or disputing your performance review, you're already going into a conflict. Dare I say a fight. Ace of Swords is being like, I have something to say to that. And the Ace of Wands could be about kind of striking that down, right? I do feel like the clarifier that I pulled for the Tower card is the Three of Coins. So the outcome may be you have one perspective, they have one perspective, and both parties are like, yeah, we're going to try to work together on the matter, but I still don't think you guys are going to see eye to eye. Regardless of who's right or who's wrong, best case scenario is them being like, yeah, we'll work with you through it. I do get this feeling, to be honest with you, because swords do trump wands, that there is this sense of, the receipts or information or data or documents that you have basically being like, look, I'm going to lay it all out for you. If you're going to attack me and you're going to blame me, I'm going to bring the truth to the matter. And it is going to be able to kind of calm down the wand of attacking you. But I still feel like there is some sense of being like, look, when you walk away from the situation, you're still probably not going to be happy about the fact that somebody either rolled you under the bus or somebody blamed you for something, or somebody, took something out on you, or something didn't go right and you were the fall guy. Like there is something where you're going to be like, what has happened and we can work together. But like there's lack of trust there, right? Or lack of security there. And I don't think there's any getting that back, because when the Tower falls, it's like there is no other option other than to rebuild or to move on, right? And so also I feel like this can be really kind of laying everything out, being like, look, this is a problem. Like now I have a problem with you. This is supposed to be about you reviewing me. Well, here are the problems that I have, and here's all the issues. And I do feel like that the resolution can be, you're giving them feedback that they need in order to kind of, better their business or better their management. And on the flip side, it's also going to be like you kind of like learning how to stand up for yourself and kind of like defending yourself and protecting yourself. Unfortunately, being a Libra rising, one thing that you're going to find is that Saturn in the 6th house is nothing but problems with coworkers. That's what that is. It's issues with coworkers and people who are supposed to have your back, are supposed to be supporting you. And also, you're going to find that with Mercury in retrograde to your sun, nobody's going to want to own up or take responsibility for anything. Like, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to do that. So I think a lot of it is going into this being like, I can say what I want to say. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change the situation. It's just giving me a better perspective of who I'm working with, and kind of realizing that they can either take this feedback and they can work through it, or, it may make me realize whether or not this is potentially a company that I want to continue to work with, or a boss that I want to continue to work with, or whatever. And obviously being a 10th house sun, there's a lot of pride in feeling like you do a good job and that you're really showing up. But so much of the eclipses in your 7th are about really kind of, unfortunately, sometimes Aries in the 7th house is about having conflict with other people and kind of working through that. So yeah, I think the harsh truth of the matter is going to be coming out of it and kind of realizing that you may be working forward with people that are not capable, and there may not be coming back. Like you might get your feelings hurt about some stuff that you guys talk about, or the fact that you don't really get the validation that you feel like is due to you. But hey, Three of Coins can basically be like, look, how can we learn to work through this, especially if you call them on the mat about some stuff and you have the receipts. But be mindful that the Tower is definitely saying something is fundamentally now a little bit kind of wrecked in regards to feeling secure with the people that you're working with. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. But yeah, good luck, and be mindful that everything really comes down to, in this next week, perspective. You're going to see a lot of situations where people aren't going to agree because people can't see your perspective, or maybe, they're seeing things from a different angle, or they're not able to, really see the truth in the matter. So there can be a lot of issues with people not wanting to take responsibility for stuff, right? Anyway, hopefully that was helpful. Keep me updated. Come back and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear about what happens with that meeting of the minds that you're going to be having. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and doing Friday night together. We are generally here every Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I will not be here next Friday, so I'm starting to put all of that out into my videos now, just letting you guys know we're going to skip that, but we'll be back. Don't forget to like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please like this or give us a heart before we let you go. And make sure you're subscribed. That way you can see the videos that we're going to be putting out throughout this next week. We've got an astro weather coming out. We got Mars in Capricorn, a new moon in Capricorn video. There's like so many Capricorn videos that are coming. And also it's not too late to join me for my New Year's Day presentation. So I'm actually going to be here in the morning on January 1st. We're going to do a several-hour private video on YouTube where I'm going to talk all about the astrology of 2024. Tickets are only $11.11. So if you click the link in my description below, you can head over to my website. You can pick up a ticket. You can ring in the new year with me. We can drink champagne and hang out in our jammies and talk all things astrology. I hope to see you guys there. While you're there, sign up for my newsletter. And also check out my 2024 calendars. There's a bunch of cool calendars and stuff there if you're looking for a 2024 calendar. We have digital, we have printed versions, we also have lunar calendars, all kinds of stuff to get your year off right. And if you want to book a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can see my schedule there. I have availability starting in March of 2024. With that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Enjoy your weekend. Have a happy new year, and I'll see all of you guys back here next year. Take care.